right. So I don't know what Greg's about to Greg. He's been Gregging a lot of stuff lately. He's like, totally convinced that he's Jesus and is going to deliver information about the apocalypse and that we all should follow him, and he will, I don't know what he wants out of this. He's so divorced, he didn't even have to get divorced to get divorced. You know what I mean? Like, all he got was broken up with. He got divorced over it. It's nuts.
I made a joke in my last video about building my own pyramid, and that—
I'm going to straight up, I forgot he talked like this. I know we've been watching a lot of these, and I forgot he fucking sounded like this.
got me to remember that there's still a major part of the ancient technology riddle that I've yet to solve. Oh. How the heck did those dang Egyptians move those giant stones so efficiently? What the heck is the Ring of Solomon? Did the ancient people really use demons to lift rocks like Solomon claims? Spoiler alert,
That's
no.
Right.
I am a skeptic, remember? I asked the demons and they told me they would never do something like that.
And I think I'm going to quit.
A long time ago, I remember hearing—
So that is a clip from Greg's video where he takes recordings of the ghosts somewhere. He takes recordings of the ghosts, and it spooked him because he bought a thing that is supposed to record those. Yeah, he's a little guy. He's a little fella.
A hint to this riddle when reading accounts to how ancient humans used to describe their encounters with the giant.
Is this a plant? Tolteca Toulon, maybe? It's a Tolteca thing?
There were tribes in the Americas who claimed that they always knew that the—
Are these little smiley faces? Aww. They didn't know how to draw the good people, so they just drew little smiley
giants
faces.
were coming because they could hear the giants whistle. That always stuck out in my mind. What the hell is the giant's whistle? And recently that got me thinking, what if the ring—
I have never heard of someone describing as giants whistling. Is that a thing? I've never heard that. What is that? What a specific thing I've never heard about giants. Whistling? Is that part of the giant mythos I'm unaware of? I'm looking at chat like they're going to help me. They're not going to help me. They don't care. They don't care about giants.
Ring of Solomon isn't a physical ring. What if it is—
What did that say?
Ring of Solomon isn't a physical ring.
Give me back my tuning fork. Who are the jokes for? What am I supposed to know that makes this funny to me? What am I not getting? Someone describe. Is it the metal? Am I just too deep into the D&D? Boyfriend's giant, they're real. That's adorable. Did he come with a beanstalk?
What if it is ringing? A whistle. A cymatic resonance frequency that somehow changes the properties of a stone. In the Bible, there's the story—
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. No. Is he doing, like, the stone polymer shit? He did it before, didn't he? Oh, no. It's happening, dude. Alright. He's gonna talk about the fucking horn, right? Is the walls of Jericho? Here it is. Look at it. Look at this picture. There it is. These depictions of war are so interesting.
Of the walls of Jericho. A group of Hebrews marched around the city several times over several days with the Ark of the Covenant blowing trumpets. People have suggested for years that this means that the Hebrews had cymatic technology, but nobody seems to know what is actually happening to the stones, just that it has something to do with sound. I'm gonna be entirely honest with you here. I've put this question on the back burner for over a decade now because I've been feeling genuine anxiety about it. I feel totally useless, like a complete idiot, constantly failing and swimming upstream when it comes to music or sound-related things. But
Dude, why does he just like decide to share his insecurities with us? Like, what a strange, we're 2 minutes into the video. They meander in such odd ways. Just talk about that then. Let's have that conversation. Why are we talking about Weightless Stone? Let's talk about like your struggles with fucking making music you think is good. That's fine.
But I swear to God, I sat down to think about this weightless rock riddle for 5 minutes last week, and it clicked for me. I'm not even joking. And I know that I bring up Tesla and Newton in every episode, but I gotta remind you that I would not understand even half of this stuff without them. Whatever it was that they saw.
Oh, wow, yeah. Hey, look, big ups to Isaac Newton and Tesla. I'm number 3 on that list, behind them, but like, you know, to the two people above me, Sir Isaac Newton and Nikola Tesla. What have I done, you ask? Well, it's the Armored Skeptic channel, of course. I've done these videos. Isn't that not a greater feat, or at least comparable, at least third place amongst all the scientists that have ever existed, and Nikola Tesla and Sir Isaac Newton, in which I place myself third, which is a humble thing. No? Okay. He's so cool and smart. He's just so fucking cool, man. God, Greg's cool.
On the Great Pyramid, I see it too. To me, it's like a big bright beacon that shines hot in my face. And it became an obsession to solve that riddle above all other things in the universe to me. That is the thing to which I sold my soul. And I feel that this video more or less solves the final major intellectual question. How did ancient dudes move big rocks so good? But before we get to that, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Raycon. When listening to the right song,
you can put your Raycons in your ears to drown out the sounds of my divorce. A 2-minute ad for Raycon? Wow, a whole 2-minute ad spot, huh? I gotta get to your music drop. Raycon, get your bag, bro. Get your bag, bro.
I hope you have a fantastic day.
Daddy Sume! Oh, no! Okay, we're good. Saved it. Caught it.
The archaeological community has had a lot of theories of...
You guys want to know what I was doing? I was just barely screwing on the cap and seeing when it would pick up, just like this. And I was just doing that. And so, inevitably, of course, it fell. It fell from my grasp. But I caught it! Which means that... I did the right thing all from the very start. Weightless stone real solid. We tried to put it on a ramp, and we thought that would help.
Over the years about how ancient people move stones. I like some of them. Some of them are kind of fun. The people of Easter Island said that after the construction of each of those giant statues, the ceremony would be to walk the statue down the mountain to the shore. That's right, ancient people believed these stones would walk down the mountain. But look guys, there's no way that this is how they got the stones for Stonehenge all the way from the quarry up north, hundreds of kilometers to the Stonehenge site. That's a joke. Just stop. Please, everyone, stop. Something that the Mudflood community brought back to life is the star fort phenomenon. I've mentioned these before, but star forts are usually built in a specific star shape. These star shapes often match cymatic resonance patterns, meaning...
Oh, no. Oh, God. What was this in? There was something I saw. It was a science fiction movie or something, and part of the tech was that they built buildings out of sound. Like, this is just it's not the buildings. Like, if you look at this, this is not how the buildings are made. That is simply land that is shaped sort of like a star. Because they built walls there. The buildings have clearly not, like, this is just not the case, man. You can just do this. They just did it with their
These
hands.
star shapes often match cymatic resonance patterns, meaning these are patterns that sound waves literally take in the air in the third dimension,
literally.
Suggesting that there was some sort of cymatic resonance frequency resonating throughout the town in the shape of that star fort.
No,
Likely,
it wasn't suggesting that at all. That somatic, what do you call them?
third dimension, suggesting that there was some sort of cymatic resonance frequency.
Somatic resonancy. It's somatic. Somatic resonancy. It does not suggest that at all. That they look vaguely like star forts, but not really. Like, I'm looking at these, they don't. It's not a star fort, my dude. Those are round and blobular. Do you see any blobules here? I see hardly a blobule in sight. And yet we're run amok with globules. We're covered in them, and none to be found. You're simply appealing to symmetry. Snowflakes. Do you think that maybe there was just big snowflakes that landed on the ground? That's what I think. I actually think there was glaciers. Glacier-sized snowflakes fell from the earth because back in the day when dinosaurs, because they're bigger, snowflakes were bigger too, and they landed on the ground and they froze the ground good, and now that we have star forts. That's what I think. Because of the you can see how they look like them. See how they look like them?
From a central building. Now, whether or not the sound waves were
If something looks like it, then that's how you know.
Actually filling the entire town in that frequency, I don't know, but it suggests at very least they were trying to fill the town with that sound frequency.
It doesn't seem obvious they were trying to fill the town with a sound frequency by making symmetrical things. Like, what is that? When you make, do you make any symmetrical things if you use sound frequencies to accomplish this feat? I feel like like, he needs to just be talked to like a child. Have you used sound frequencies to achieve symmetry in any scenario in your life? Yes, I've put sand on a drum before. Cool, dude.
Humming sounds can put an entire town in a good mood, and it can even promote good health. Certain frequency patterns even...
Oh, fuck. He's 5Ging on us. He's 5Ging. He's not going to say 5G, maybe? Maybe he will. That'd be great, but... He's 5G.
Change your metabolism, your brain function, and can even counteract depression.
Nice.
These central buildings that were emitting this sound were likely what we now call churches. Churches often
now called churches
have a cymatic resonance frequency pattern in their windows.
They did a somatic. There's no other reason to do symmetry other than somatic frequencies and the resonance. As you can see, this one resonated to be pillars and cloverly shaped things. This one clovery shaped things. This one's clovery shaped things with more pillars. This one's sort of more like a floral thing, but you can still see that there's like the overall clovery design going. And then, you know, this is floral and still has the blobules from the clovery design. You see, we're back into the globule situation. You know, there's a lot of overlaps. I wonder if there's an art style that you could appeal to for this. I wonder if there's any sort of study on this subject whatsoever. Or we could just say that they look symmetrical and say that symmetrical things are now all connected to this. Again, I think actually snowflakes during a blizzard, big window-sized snowflakes froze the buildings into looking like this instead of just someone making a pattern that pleased them. It's definitely not someone made a pattern that pleased them.
Like, guys, they literally tell you right on the side what frequency it plays.
Ha, whoa.
I remember in the late 90s, they used to warn us not to watch too much television because it lowered your brain function and even lowered your metabolism.
That's from just sitting on the couch watching TV, not from the frequencies.
They were warning that this is part of the reason why so many of us were turning out obese. Tuning your brain in...
Nope. Obesity is a symptom of capitalism a lot of the time, dude. And then like, and not because of the fucking bounties of it, because it makes people make bad decisions. And then, we grow up in these situations where we've so we come from a cat. Let's talk about fucking obesity for a second. As an expert on the subject, we have a situation where our country decided to go from like quality produce to a manufactured produce situation, kind of by necessity but necessity wrought by their own capitalist overreach, and war. Their processed meaty goods, their corn and wheat things, their all the processed foods you think of. Like, think about the generational impact of that on all the people. When I was a kid, we were skinny. Yeah, the Dust Bowl was happening, Nana. It was the bowl of dust. We have not had a Dust Bowl in some time. So, like, there's this weird thing that capitalists do, and they go like, oh, look at all the stuff you have. You have Gatorade? Would you like Gatorade? I do like Gatorade. I do. I feel like, hear me out, I would be better off if Gatorade wasn't a thing. I like it. It's tasty. It's delicious. But I think, like, just as a society, we don't need this. I do enjoy it. I like stuff. Look at this. Check this out. Look at this. You ever seen this? I can get green. What? I can do that. I like it. I don't need it to be happy. Okay? I have it to facilitate my fucking capitalism shit. Jesus. Like, Computer, thanks so much for the raid. We're on capitalism instead of being a fan.
It has to do.
It reminds me of the character in Pestilence and Good Omens, who made food so lacking in nutritional content that people would gain weight while dying of malnutrition. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I guess we can get back on track. I mean, the problem of obesity in America is a lot of things, but a vast majority of it lies on the socialization of generations of Americans who lived through and in currently poverty at many different levels, including but not limited to fucking chattel slavery, indentured servitude, if you're fucking Irish, like internment camps, colonization, there is, and then the social association with, initially, it's good to be fat, and now what we socially, kind of what's happening, is that fitness is associated with wealth now, because it's something you have to have time for, because if you're poor, you're gonna make high calorie, low nutrition options are going to come up more often due to your schedule and due to the way that you live and your lack of resources, and your lack of just options. Sometimes you can do both. It's totally possible, but it's something you have to like really do. It's not for everybody. Anyway, that's what fucking happens, man. Not frequencies on your TV. If you're just joining us, welcome. My name's Jake. I'm a leftist. If you're not, you're wrong. But I'd like to have you anyway. And we talk about politics, and right now we're talking about a former buddy of mine. His name is Armoured Skeptic. Not really a buddy, a peer of mine, Armoured Skeptic, who has become a nut job, total nut job. He believes in conspiracy theories. This is his conspiracy theory. Here we go.
Into a reality created by a piece of art.
Food is also a great escape from the shit reality. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll say for sure, I have a weird relationship with food. Like, I've gained weight and lost weight throughout my life, And I think it lies in a few different places. I mean, number one, it lies in, again, I don't need stuff like this. I mean, this is no calories in it, but nonetheless, it's not necessarily like a nutritional thing. We live in a way. Oh, and I'd say a second thing. First off, we live in a way that has, like, I don't know, we have a lot of empty calories, and capitalism is not made to, like, ensure our thriving. And so a lot of the stuff that gets shoved down our fucking gullets isn't necessarily great for us, but we can live, right? We can live on it, and it's tasty. But, you know, it's not necessarily, like, nutritional. You know, we could live in a society that valued nutrition and still have really good food. Anyway, I do it at home a lot. I think we've been losing weight, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. Second of all, to my point, which on the doesn't really matter part, I'm pretty sure if you look around, just in the general population, I don't know if we're, like, supposed to look away, but, like, you see other apes, we kind of look like apes, man. We get bellies, we get butts. We're supposed to. We want stores. We're animals. It's a survival instinct to kind of want a little bit of that, and it's more like a social thing that we do. Like, skinny people are great. I like a skinny person. Skinny people are cute and whatever too. But I mean, I've never been upset ever at any weight that I've ever been. I've been very skinny, and I've been bigger than I am now, and it's just not like a big deal. I don't give a shit. If you're cool and you're a cutie, I mean, you just are. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's just weird. Some people are skinny, some people aren't. If you want to be skinny or you want to be not skinny, there's probably ways to achieve it. And if not, well, I mean, like, don't our bodies fucking suck? You know what I mean? Hard to find fresh stuff to eat. Yeah, I mean, it just depends on where you lived in the U.S. a decade ago. I mean, it depends on where you lived in the U.S. It's definitely hard to find for a lot of people. I'm lucky where I live, but yeah, I mean, I've lived in Idaho before, and they definitely don't have high quality produce out there. Florida's pretty good though, at times.
Literally
Probably expensive now, though.
Alter your bodily
more,
functions. This is something that the conspiracy theory community always brings up with pop music. I did a podcast on Satanism in the music industry, but more importantly is Josie and the Pussycats machine. That shit is real. Music that's played at 440 hertz makes you sleepy or dopey.
Is this true? "10 hours of 440 sine waves?" I am only seeing woo-woo sources. Disruption, disharmony, and disunity. Our bodies and minds are extremely sensitive to a medium, frequencies. Wow. Can frequencies heal the body? Oh, wow. Let's do it. Nope, it works. That's totally real. It's real, chat. It's real.
Even pop songs that are supposed to be like fun dance songs, I notice if I listen to them too long, I start to feel like I'm going to sleep. Like even K-pop is considered some of the sleepiest music ever. How is that possible? It's because they play it at 440 hertz. It's because they intentionally make it dumb and slow and dopey to put children's brains to sleep. But music that's played
faster healing for cat
closer to the 432 hertz range will actually wake your brain up. It'll be sharp and bright. It'll make you feel awake. It'll make you feel energetic. 432 hertz used to be the global standard for musical pitch until the 1800s, when it suddenly changed to 440 hertz. Right around the War of 1812, if you know what I mean by that, right? 440 is supposed to be for opening the third eye or being spiritually awakened, which is, it's good for meditative states. But if you're trying to function and actually like break out of the matrix and be a real human being that doesn't follow what the news says, well, 440 hertz music is going to make you one of those useless corn syrup sucking idiots.
Why would you... What? A useless corn syrup. So don't listen to pop music, because it makes you an idiocracy guy. Okay, is that a shit and piss and cum tubes? Is that what these are? These tubes to take your waste away? Nice.
The 440 hertz frequency essentially makes you brain dead and opens you up to subtle suggestions and makes you easier to manipulate. Pop music, ladies and gentlemen, the music of the devil. Remember what I told you, the entire universe is just light matter vibrating at different rates and frequencies.
That's how they
So
control
if we
us.
can manipulate rates and frequencies, does that mean that we should be able to create a resonance frequency that manipulates matter? The answer is yes. Yes, you can. See, just like the way Tesla demonstrated that you can light a light bulb without plugging it into anything, you just need a source of electricity. You too can get something to vibrate without it touching anything. You just need a source of vibration. This Egyptian god is holding a staff that the Mudflood community has suggested is likely a tuning fork. And this is a foreman or a supervisor on a job site. But the alternative
He's the foreman.
history community thinks that that means that they're using sound to cut the rocks or shape the rocks, or somehow they're using sound to lift rocks up into the air. Guys, you're expecting far too much out of the term weightless. It doesn't mean they were literally defying gravity. It means that they were weightless to pull. Remember?
Weightless to pull doesn't mean they weren't weightless. It doesn't mean they were weightless. It means they were weightless to pull. Let's see how he does it. He's going to do it again. He's going to prove it. Liquid stone, right? Isn't this how it worked? Didn't he say that they were liquid stone?
Ancient laborers pulled. So you are right. This is a tuning fork. This guy is likely some sort of a foreman or a supervisor, and he's using this fork to check for frequency.
Thoth. Isn't that fucking Conan? Crom. There's Crom, but what's the other one? Gods of Conan the Barbarian. Crom. Conan the Barbarian. Yeah, I don't know.
But this fork itself does not cause the vibration. He's just
Thoth, the spirit science's favorite deity. So there is Crom, who is the deity of Conan, but there is another deity. It's in the second movie too. What's the second one called? Maybe it's Dagon, actually.
holding this staff to make sure that the vibration device has reached the correct frequency. I'm not going to pretend that I know the exact process, the exact devices, or whatever. Just like the geopolymer stones, I'm just going to prove that they understood the basic principles of vibration.
All I have to do is say that they understood that things vibrate, and then I have proved my conspiracy theory. Okay.
So again, I gotta give a shout out to Tesla. My man over here built an electric oscillator, and this thing is deadass exactly like an Ankh. Tesla himself is the one that turned me on to the idea that the universe is vibrating at different rates and frequencies. By electrically oscillating the air like a musical instrument, one could create a vibrational frequency in the air. Whether you hear it or not, and whether you feel it or not, the air could be rapidly vibrating around you, like a high-pitched hum. If you did this fast enough, at a quick enough rate, it would cause a high-pitched squeal. Perhaps...
Dude, did you know that this means 140 decibels is a loud jet engine? Okay? 10 decibels is breathing. 14 people? 14 people breathing It's one jet engine. That's how it works. Just multiply it, dude. All you gotta do is multiply it.
Fast enough, at a quick enough rate, it would cause a high-pitched squeal.
Now you know how decibels
Perhaps
work.
this was the sound that the natives were describing from the
math.
giants. Now here's the magic part. If you vibrate the air at a specific frequency, say a C note, and you had a tuning fork...
C note. It's a perfect C.
or some sort of a piece of hardware that was tuned to a C note, then that hardware would also start to vibrate completely detached from the original C note, simply from sharing the vibration in the air.
This one is making this one oscillate due to resonance. So it's a forced motion. It's pushing and pulling the tines, but it's just by, it's like a driven oscillator if you think of it, but with a sound wave.
Every other note, sharps, flats, whatever, they would all remain inert. Only the C notes would vibrate. So do you see where I'm going with this? Tesla once
Resonant frequency?
theorized that you could use a tiny oscillation device to collapse an entire building or a bridge. All you would need to know is the oscillation frequency. Mythbusters even tested this and with a tiny device managed to get an entire bridge to shake. But what's crazy is you don't even need to attach a physical device. All you need to do is figure out what frequency that building plays, what note that building would play, and then just play the frequency at an extremely high rate, and eventually that structure will collapse. Gabriel, blow the trumpets. I love that this was the onk people used to represent.
So you
It
think?
has the juice.
So you think that the horns were at the of Jericho were at the resonant frequency of the walls? Please get to the brown note, please. Please get to the brown note, please. Brown note.
The Tesla oscillator, because this
Like the brown
onk
noise?
includes 3 different hieroglyphs that are often depicted together. The tuning fork staff, the Jed pillar, and the onk. They almost always include a serpent as
It's the note that makes you shit.
well, some sort of a slug or
real?
a snake or a squiggly line. So a Jed pillar represents power and
440 is real.
stability. The Jed pillar with arms is Osiris. One of the versions of
I want a shit tone.
Osiris is a
South Park? Oh, I've never heard.
Jed pillar. The
I've not never watched South Park. I haven't watched South Park since the 90s, maybe early 2000s.
term Jedi is an occult term for a wizard who is a wielder of electricity and sound. The Jed pillar is also described as Osiris's backbone, or his spine. The backbone of Osiris was electricity, if I haven't already made that blatantly clear in this series.
Sometimes he says shit like that and it just blows my fucking brain. Not because he said anything right. He said that it was obvious that it had been established that electricity is the backbone of Osiris. And we should all know that as people who have watched every episode of this. We have literally watched every episode of this. Look at it. Watched them all, dude. Why is this happening?
Electricity, if I haven't already made that blatantly clear in this series. Check out this hieroglyph. Everyone in the alternative history community says this represents light bulbs being powered by electricity. The snakes in the center represent electrical power or some sort of plasma.
Yeah, I think that's fucking dumb.
Plasma arcing is a serpent of electricity. A lightning
Plasma arcing is a serpent of electricity. Yeah, no matter how many times you say it, I'm not seeing serpent. More of a tree, honestly. Upside down tree situation, you know?
bolt is a serpent of electricity, and supporting the light bulbs in this hieroglyph is a Jed
Why are my
pillar
notes
with
here?
arms. That's Osiris. He's creating stability for those light bulbs, like a Tesla tower. The god of power power is creating a stable electrical field to allow these electrical objects to operate. Do you get it? The Jed pillar is literally a Tesla tower. Tesla was reinventing and rebuilding ancient Egyptian technology. There's no way that he didn't know he was doing this. Here's another example of these three hieroglyphs together, this time with a squiggly line on top instead of a slug.
A squiggly line must be electricity.
Tell me that this does not represent electricity.
It doesn't.
Hieroglyphs like this are often depicted between gods.
Ignore the fish scales. Don't ignore the electricity.
On important temples. This hieroglyph is telling you how they built the temple, or perhaps even the function of the temple. Electricity and harmonics.
Slugs.
You get it? The foreman supervisor would hold that tuning fork staff, and by feel in his hand, he would not only be able to tell if it was playing the right note, but if it was vibrating strong enough to move the stone. If they need just a little vibration to get down a steep hill, or if they need a lot of vibration to get across rough terrain. So there's only really two options as to what it is that they're vibrating that's allowing them to move the rock. Are they putting the rock on some sort of a vehicle, like a plate, or I don't know, some sort of a land boat that's set to a specific note, and then they're vibrating their oscillator to the specific note of that plate or that land boat? I feel like
A land boat. We've no evidence of brand new tools that we've never seen Egyptian ancient civilizations use. No archaeological evidence whatsoever. So it's just maybe they used a land boat with resonant frequencies delivered by the tuning fork of a shaman. I don't know. Maybe they just rolled them. I think maybe they rolled them.
that's the most intuitive answer. That's the answer you want to hear. But believe it or not, they were actually vibrating the stones. Remember, these aren't normal stones. This is geopolymer.
It's the way he talks.
These aren't normal stones. This is geopolymer.
It pains me. He pains me.
These are musical stones.
This looks like a Stone Age guitar. Now you might think that the stone shape is just accidental and that it broke off or something. You'd be mistaken, because I've collected probably about 4 or 5 stones that are very, very similar in shape, very similar carving structure. There's broad base here and then down to a narrow tip, and somebody removed this particular piece of the stone over there for specific reasons. I remember it's also covered in patina, the skin of the rock, this brown reddish color that covers the rock, that is no longer the original black or charcoal color, the original color of the metamorphosized quartzite that's underneath. I'm holding it and it's deadening some of the effect. There we go. This thing really rings
So it's a bell.
like a bell, and it reverberates for quite a long time.
They made a bell.
It's also important to note that you cannot carve or chip the stone. It will splinter and fragment, and it will not be chipped or carved. These shapes that we see here must have been molded in some way.
It's not an evil genius moment, but god damn, did I earn this one.
Molding metal is a thing. What? You can also rub stones. If it's a stone, you can rub it. You rub it. You wouldn't chip it. I don't know how they made the bells. I guess I just don't think it was the geopolymer.
But here's the thing. Even if I'm entirely wrong about every single thing I said in this video, you know that I'm right, that you could do exactly what I just said, right? Am I Tesla 2.0? No. Am I Newton 3.0? No matter how advanced or determined.
You couldn't do these things. I don't know what he's talking about. You couldn't. You're not. Those aren't real things you should be saying about your... These
determined these ancient people were,
He's
though.
delusional.
I refuse to believe
refuse?
that they employed this method to get rocks to travel more than a few miles at a time. There's no way that the Stonehenge people were doing this to get rocks to go hundreds of miles.
Why? What else were they doing? They had a beautiful little island, all they needed, and a society that wanted to make these fucking stones. But people have done harder things than that. I don't... For less.
It's too much effort to walk
It isn't.
a stone that far. I
isn't.
still believe that...
It isn't. It's the whole... What do you mean? You have distraction. You have media. You have, you have contact with the outside world. This is their whole fucking culture. There isn't more important stuff than this. I am a genius, by the way, it says. The context of the Western white man saying about any of the cultures he's never been a part of in times that we can't even imagine the societies of. Ooh, wonder what was important to this culture. Well, they tell you these were important. Oh, well, I mean, probably not enough, though. They probably had other shit to do, like go fucking bowling or something, you know? What do you mean?
They're vibrating the stone to get from a quarry to a general highway. And what was the highway of the ancient people? Rivers. We already know that the ancient Egyptians used boats and also wrapped stones in reeds and floated them down the river. Could they have done that with Stonehenge? You're goddamn right they did. Stonehenge is not nearly as big a mystery as you keep playing it out to be.
An historian? Even this guy is smarter than an historian. Is he saying an historian? An historian? Stonehenge isn't near a river. How dare you?
Okay? You need to look at the layout of Stonehenge. Most temples are at the top of hills, right? But Stonehenge is at one of the lower areas in the region. If you do a zoom out, you see it's not really that far from a river. And off of that river runs a channel towards Stonehenge, which is currently a dry ditch. This dry ditch used to run off of the main river, right to Stonehenge. And what did I tell you about round buildings next to running water? That's right, folks. Stonehenge was a fire temple aligned to the winter and summer solstice. And they built it by floating the rocks wrapped with reeds down the river right to the building site. Come on, guys. A fucking caveman can figure this shit out. God, I cannot believe I have to share this fucking planet with my
What a guy, dude. What a guy. We don't have any evidence of some of this stuff, man. You can't... A lot of it doesn't sound reasonable, bro. Why are you like this? He is definitely the strangest fucking guy. I mean, the next one we're watching is Artificial Intelligence Already Won. I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's going to be fine.